What is up, guys? It is Dylan from Redneck Tuners, and I'm back with another video. I know it's been a while, but I'm excited to get going on the car. Unfortunately, I have been neglecting my 240. I haven't done any really maintenance on it. I haven't really done basically anything. I haven't really driven it all that much either. But I did have a major issue recently, and I'm going to jump into that and show you what it was and my idea on how to fix it. And we're going to get into fixing it. Hopefully, we can get this thing driving and being smooth by the end of the day because I want to take it out. So let's get into it. Man, this thing is pretty dirty, dusty. I have not driven this thing in a long time because, well, it's having issues. The good old K. Let's get this thing fixed. So the problem I actually was having was I noticed for a long time I was overfueling just a tad. I could feel it. I smell it, obviously. And I was having a little bit of black smoke out the rear. Not terrible, but just enough to let me know that I've been overfueling. And the one thing I haven't replaced on this entire fuel system, aside from the actual physical rail itself, is the fuel pressure regulator. It sits right here in the back. And I never replaced that. I've replaced every soft line, filters, pumps multiple times, sending units, everything I can replace on this, injectors, all sorts of stuff. But the only thing I didn't do was that regulator. So I noticed it's been overfueling. I have a regulator. It's time to put it on just so I can get it over with. That one's going to be a little bit of a battle on its own, but that's going to hopefully solve this issue. Another issue that you could probably see is all of this oil right here, all this mess that looks like that. And if we come over here, there's oil here and under here. All that is from my valve cover gasket. I actually recently replaced this valve cover gasket, but I noticed in the process, the shop that I initially had taken this car to do my timing setup, they decided that they were going to strip this bolt here and not tell me about it and throw some RTV gasket in there. And yeah, it's not holding tight. The valve cover is not sealed right. And I'm gonna fix that today. Man, I really love the look of the strut brace, but when it comes to working on things, it gets kind of annoying. I know they have these quick release kind of like pins and stuff, but it's really annoying, especially when we're working on the things it directly covers. Let me know what you guys think about it. I love it, just the way it looks, and it does help a little bit with the body roll, but getting it off is super annoying. All right, she's free. Oh yeah, and always remember that when you pull these spark plug wires off, they do have obviously an orientation. I know that's common knowledge to most people, but some people don't know. Just remember the orientation. Some of the wires are typically longer than they're all different sizes is what I'm trying to say. And just remember the orientation they go in, because it's going to be important when you go to put them back in. With the wires out of the way, we're going to do all of the valve cover bolts. I know there is in the service manual, there's a recommended way to remove them and also put them back on. We're going to follow the one to put it back on, but removing them, mine are already loose. So we're just going to do whatever comes first. Got all the bolts except the last one. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you shouldn't be able to do this. And that is them putting RTV in a thread. And that's just gray silica. This isn't Loctite or anything. This is just RTV in a thread to hold it there. So I would forget about it and hopefully not have to worry about it for a while. And unfortunately, as you can see with all the oil everywhere, I got to worry about it. So don't do that, please. And last but not least, I took off the breather hose or the valve cover. And some people use little plastic pry bars. Unfortunately, since mine is not exactly doing a great job of sealing, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, look at that. Boom, right off. Now, with the actual cover all the way off, I kind of want to point something out to you guys because this is now, I think this is going to be the third gasket that I've had to put on this thing. The second one, which is this one, was put on by another shop. And that's the one who screwed me over on this bolt here. And a couple other things they've done in the past. I'm never going back to them again. But anyways, that's besides the point. So just do your due diligence when you're taking somebody to a shop or your car to a shop. But if you're going to do this yourself, I recommend not using the sealer, silicone sealer, all over the gasket, or all over the valve cover here. And the reason why is because it's not actually holding it. It's creating kind of like an uplift on this seal here, and it's not allowing to get it a proper seal everywhere else. Where I do recommend it, and where I believe the service manual recommends it, is right here on these little half moons here, and they're in the back as well. There's half moons there. They recommend you put some there because they do tend to seep out of here all the time. And yeah, this gasket's already kind of trashed, but let's see if we can. I can't even get this out of here right now. Gotta move it around a little bit. Anyways, all of this RTV has to go to get a proper seal, so we're gonna have to work our way there, hopefully not cause any damage. And do not get any in here, because you do not want that in your oil. So just take your time, get all of this gasket off, and then we'll move on to the next step. So I've been working at this gasket maker that they put on here. Obviously you can see where it is still on here. In this area, I've got the majority of it off. I'm working toward the front here where the timing cover's at, and trying to get in these areas here. This is like the hardest part to get into, but take your time. I've seen people use brushes. The only reason I'm not doing that is because I don't want to fling anything into the head here. So I'm just gonna keep doing it the way I'm doing it. I'm using a very sharp razor blade here, and I know not everybody's gonna, some people will probably flip out about that, but do not scrape forward and dig into it. Drag backward and lightly keep the blade as flat as possible, and it will come off slowly. It's annoying, but if you have to do this job in a hurry, wait till you have time, because if you can save yourself so much money just doing it right the first time. And a little side quest, if you guys have these timing covers on and you have a really annoying slap, you can hear the chain just kind of going every single time. You hear it just smacking. It's actually this timing cover here. I mean, not timing cover, this chain tensioner, whatever they want to call it. And people recommend to take it off. The only reason I don't have to take, or I'm not taking mine off right now, is because unfortunately last time I took mine off, I had really bad timing issues. But it was because of something else. But I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious, so I don't want to do it yet. I actually think in the back here in my messed up tool bag, let's see. Oh, there's my old one. And if I can get a good lighting here, you can see this used to be flat. This is from the chains digging into there, slapping into there. So if you're doing this to eliminate the timing issue, or the timing slap or chain, or whatever you want to call it, yeah, this is what they recommend. This is my old one, and obviously you can see those are insane scoring marks. All right, so unfortunately we got to switch gears a little bit. I went to go take the valve cover, or I took the valve cover off, working on all that stuff. I went to tap that bolt that is loose, or it is stripped completely. I went to retap it with the bigger size thread. Turns out I don't have my drill, and I can't drill it out, so I'm kind of stuck here until I do have one. My brother's gonna let me borrow his later, so I'm gonna go pick that up in a little bit. But for now, I'm gonna work on what we can work on. So instead of working on the valve cover, we're gonna jump into the fuel pressure regulator. And hopefully we can get something done. So my plan of attack is, instead of trying to fight it in here and fit a screwdriver in here, I'm gonna pull the rail out, and that way I can, what do you call it? I can pull this all apart. I can get into there and also clean the rest of that gasket for the valve cover off, but also I can assess how the injectors look. I've pulled them recently, but it might as well just do it. And I feel like it's gonna save me some time down the line. So my plan is to take this bolt here off, well, that's a 10, another 10, this bolt here, and then you should have, for the fuel rail, you should have 1, 2, and then there's one bolt. I can't really get to it with a camera, but it's under here to the rail. I think, actually, believe it or not, mine's missing, which is great, but yeah, so we're gonna try to do that and see what we can do. So I'm getting the fuel rail bolts out right now. I did get these ones out. So we're gonna hope that with this out, we can pull the injector wires individually off from the harness, and then we can just go ahead and pull this whole rail off. All right, my new plan of attack was to get the bolts out. I believe it's free now. I believe the rail's free. I unplugged all the injector wires. I'm moving them up. And I put some rags down here just in case there is some fuel. Might as well catch it in a rag rather than just dripping on things. So we're gonna see. Let's find out. See if this will come loose. Oh yeah, we're loose here. Okay. Let's get this part swung this way. All right. We're free from the intake manifold here. And that's how we're looking. Not too shabby. The vacuum line already came off on its own there. That's great. There usually is a vacuum line right here on your fuel pressure regulator. That's why it's clear. And it is this one right here. So when we put it back together, that's how we're gonna do it. Now what we're gonna do is give it a good, honest try to not get fuel everywhere. Chances are it probably will, but yeah. So basically there's two screws here, one on the top and one on the bottom. Then you have your hose clamp here for your rail, your circulation line. And obviously this comes out later. So the way to do it is to pull these two screws off, get this hose clamp loose, and take it off. And we're gonna see if we can do that. All right, so we got it separated from the rail. Our rags aren't doing too bad. It's dripping on there. Be careful. That's why I have it tilted at this angle here. So all the fuel kind of runs down that way, and that way it's not pouring out this side. So try that. I'm gonna pull this hose off here as well. And this one's gonna be definitely full of fuel. So expect that. And yeah, let's get this new one on. All right, so with a little bit of struggling, and I mean a lot of struggling, I got this off. I plugged the new thing in just so I could stop the leak, at least coming from this side. It's gonna be hard if you want to and replace it. Mine's really new for some reason. They must have messed with it last time, or somebody else has replaced it. It's really good shape, still really responsive rubber. It's not like it's just cracked, but I plugged that in there. So now I'm gonna start to seat this new thing in here and get this all lined up so we don't have any more fuel leaks, and then we'll go ahead and test it. Ladies and gentlemen, our rail is back together in one piece. Hoses are tightened up. Everything's checked there, good. Now, we're gonna try to put this thing back in. I should have mentioned this before, but if you see those little rubber pieces right here and right there, and as well as the fuel rail, they have these little rubber isolators in every cylinder, and those are very important for the injectors. Without that, you will not be able to put this thing back in. So please don't lose those, and I'm gonna try my best to put these back together the right way. Let's see what we can do. All right, so we got our valve cover off again. We're checking some things out. I was finishing up taking up all the gasket. It looks really good so far, super smooth compared to how it was. I'm also going to take a little bit of degreaser here. I'm going to clean up some of this as well, like all the oil that spilled off, just so I can see later in the future if it's leaking again. I hope it doesn't, but just in case. Plus we don't like a mess. But we successfully put the fuel rail back on. We got these two thread pulls in here. The vacuum and everything is good there. Fuel pressure regulator is good to go. So the only thing left is to put our harness back together for the injectors. Make sure they clip in, and that will be the end of this. All right, I'm back working on the car. This is the most nerve-wracking part. This is the bolt or the thread that got destroyed. And in the tap kit came a bit that is meant to be perfect fit for the new tap. So I have to drill out this hole, and it's a little sketchy because it's in the head, but you know, we'll see. Hopefully everything goes smoothly, but we're gonna drill this out, re-tap it, helicoil it, and then we should be good to go to put this new gasket on. So let's see how we do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I used the drill. I drilled out the hole, and I actually have tapped it already. I don't know if you can see it's really hard to see, but yeah, there's threads right there. Yeah. Anyways, I tapped it. Now we're going to use the helicoil because I tapped this to a bigger size. We're going to use the helicoil, which is this guy here. And we're going to basically screw this in with the helicoil tool. And if you notice, there is a lip on the back of this guy here. That's for the tool. And after you've placed the threads in, you want to this kit comes with a pin. Basically, you're going to break that pin off in there. So we're going to try to get this thing in here. Hopefully we can get these threads repaired, and I don't have to worry about this. So let's see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our helicoil in place. It was actually the most nerve-wracking thing I feel like I've done so far, just because it's drilling directly into the head. I know people are probably going to laugh at me for that, but check this out. We are perfectly centered. It's perfectly set up here, and this thing is super snug. No more aluminum threads for at least this one. I'm not going to do it for the other ones unless I need them later on. But yeah, this is a victory for me. I'll take this. And my method, if anybody's wondering, is use a shop vac. Get those shavings out before you take any of these things out, because you don't want any sort of metal shavings in your oil, by your cams. You don't want any scoring, especially near all this stuff. So use that shop vac. Don't scrape anything. Don't scratch anything. Just get in and get out like I did. And let's get this valve cover back on with the new gasket, so that way we can get this thing back up and running. All right, guys, I think it's time we stop playing around and I show you what the spark plugs look like, because my guess is that they're going to be pretty black because I've been over fueling, and bingo, man, those are dark. All right, so just a quick word of advice from me. Well, not advice, but a little tip. If they're this dark, you're over fueling. And I want to just kind of show you these spark plugs. I know you probably can't tell. These spark plugs have about, if I had to guess on the generous side, 1,000 miles. So they definitely shouldn't look like that. I've had 100,000 mile plugs look better than this, so that's pretty bad. So let's move on to the next ones. All right, y'all, on the back of the truck, in left to right order, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the different cylinders. All of them are very, very fouled for being 1,000 miles. If this was, 50,000 miles, I'd say it's a little better, but 100, or for 1,000 miles, this is insane. Luckily, I already went out and bought them because I figured they were going to look like that. All right, these are all good. Let's throw them in the car. All right, so looks like we got no leaks so far. Everything's looking good, but look who joined the party. I got my professional hose holder just in case. Anytime I work with fuel now, I get nervous, so she's got the hose just in case. Yeah, so let's see if we can get this thing to start. Not too bad. Let's let this thing warm up while I check for some leaks, and then I'll get back to you. So I'm still having this idle misfire. I'm sure you guys could probably see it or hear it. But it starts to break up at 2,000-ish. Let's go see, take it on a drive. Maybe it needs to get some pedal after it, and then I'll let you know how it goes. See, look how low it gets.
Or you push it, oh, let's see.
Super rough idle, shaking.
Look how low it gets. Yeah, I'm shaking hard.
But it tries to bring itself back to life.
Why did it do that? It do that like just by sitting? There you go. Pops a lot.
All right, guys, so it is the next morning. I came out here to try to let it see how it would act on cold start, and it's not good. It's doing the same thing. I drove it. It doesn't really break up or anything, but it's when I come to a stop, I'm on idle for a while, and if I go to blip it up, it maybe get a little bit of RPMs, it pops, and then it just bogs down and it's struggling. It's fighting for its life. Finally brings itself back up, and then it doesn't do it for a little bit, and then it'll just kind of bog down. I can't figure it out. And I've been doing this for a couple, it's probably been 6 months now. I've been dealing with this issue. Ever since my fuel pump went out, I've replaced every single bit of this fuel system. And I don't think that's any of it, to be honest with you. But let me know. If you guys have any ideas, I would greatly appreciate it. Or you of anybody you know may know what's going on. I'm sure people have had similar issues. I've checked in the forums. I've checked in the Facebook pages. Unfortunately, people don't really want to help very much there. But yeah, I've replaced pump, all the lines, all the clamps because they were weak. I've done the fuel filter, all the lines up front. What else have I done? Injectors, fuel pressure regulator, coolant temp sensor, idle air control valve. I have a new one, or not a new one, but a different one that I haven't put in yet. I did take this one out, fully cleaned it, re-gasket with an OEM gasket, sealed up completely. There's no vacuum leaks on it. I already checked. I've done air filter, new spark plugs, spark plug wires, cap and rotor, alternator. I've done an alternator as well because I thought it was maybe just not giving enough power. But unfortunately, none of those things have affected it, have changed it. I'm not sure where to go at this point, so hopefully you guys have any ideas for me. Leave them down in the comments below. I will read them, and hopefully I can get to them as well, because I want to get this thing on the road and I want it to be reliable. And I can't be changing spark plugs every 1,000 miles. It's just not good for the car. It's not good for me either. So yeah, I appreciate you sticking around. Thanks for watching the video. Please leave a comment, a like, or whatever you can. If you have any information about this, please let me know. Hit me up either here or I have a Redneck Tuesday Instagram or TikTok. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.